All right, hi my friends. You just read Alistair and Kip's Great Adventure. All right, I hope you enjoyed the story. Normally I like to read that story to you, but unfortunately I don't have it, so I wanted to make sure that you still got to see it. All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the plot of Alistair and Kip's Great Adventure. All right, so first of all, when we look at a story like that, we know it's a fantasy story, okay? Because the characters, which are animals, are doing things that animals don't normally do or don't really do in a story. So an animal fantasy is fun to read because it entertains us. It makes us laugh, and it's kind of, it's just a story for entertainment, okay? So in Alistair and Kip's Great Adventure, we have two characters. Our characters are Alistair, and he is a cat, very good. Alistair, and Kip, what is Kip? Kip is a dog, very good. So we have two characters, Alistair and Kip. And in the beginning of the story, I love it because today is Tuesday, and they say the story begins on a Tuesday. Very good. It's a Tuesday, and who was bored at the beginning of the story? Who's bored at the beginning of the story? Alistair the cat is bored, right? He's very bored, and he is trying to think of something to do. So he finds his friend Kip, right? And they decide that they want to try and figure out something to do. Okay, so they're talking to each other about things that they can do. Can that really happen? No, cats and dogs don't really talk to each other about what they're going to do on a Tuesday, even if they are bored. All right. So in the beginning of the story, what do? What happens first in the story? Okay, they build a boat, right? They have to build a boat. So what do they have to do? They gather all kinds of things. What are some things that they start to gather? They gather wood, they gather cloth, they gather paint, some hammers, some nails, and they build this boat, right? Okay, what happens in the middle of the story? So they get in the boat and they're riding away, drifting away, okay? But who's in the boat? Just Alistair's in the boat. Very good. Do you think Kip is going to join him? Do you think Alistair would leave without him? I don't know. They're friends. I don't think so. But does Kip jump into the boat? He sure does. Very good. All right. Then they head out to sea, right? What happens when they're out at sea? What happens in the middle of the story? The big wave comes, right, and knocks them all both out of the boat. Exactly. And where do they find themselves swimming? In the ocean with octopus, fish, sharks, crabs, right? But Alistair and Kip are doing what to get to the top? They're swimming. Okay. So they're probably pretty happy that they're able to swim to get back up to the top. But where are they when they get up to the top? Where are they? They think they see an island, and they get on it. But what are they really on? They're on a whale's back. Very good. And what does that whale help them to do? He helps to bring them home. Very good. All right. But before he brings them home, how did he feel about them on his back? He was a little scared, right? Do you think the whale was expecting to find Alistair and Kip on his back? I don't think so. But then, so they scare the whale when they yell that they realize that it's the whale, and they end up scaring the whale. Very good. All right. And so then the whale helps to bring them back home. When they get back home, you would think that they've had this adventure. What does Alistair say he wants to do? Do you remember? What does he say he wants to do? He wants to build an airplane. He wants to go on another adventure. Very good. Do you think it might start over again? I think so. Maybe there's a pattern here with Alistair, and maybe Kip will join him. Do you remember another story that we read this year where at the end of the story, the little girl decides she wants another adventure? Abuela, very good. All right, this time she says that she wants to go, remember at the end of the story? On a boat. Very good. All right, well, Alistair wants to go on a plane, and Abuela, or wanted to go, the little girl in Abuela wanted to go on a boat. All right, very good. All right, what we're going to do right now is we're going to draw a quick little picture of the plot of Alistair and Kip's great adventure, okay? And then you're going to practice writing a sentence in your copy about their adventure, a telling sentence. All right, so at the beginning of the story, Alistair and Kip. All right, so we have a cat, right? I'm just going to draw my best little cat here. We have a cat, okay, Alistair, and we have Kip, a dog, right? And I'll draw my little body here of my dog. Okay, so we have Kip and Alistair and Kip, right? And they decide to build a boat, right? With their paddles coming out of it. Okay, they decide to build a boat. So that happens first in the story. What happened next in the story? They were in their boat, right? But I'm going to draw a big wave here. But the big wave knocked them out of the boat, right? So I'm going to put my cat, whoop. So I'm going to put my cat over here. He got knocked out of the boat into the ocean, right? And then my dog, well, he got knocked over. Kip got knocked over too, right? So they got knocked into the ocean, right? Oh, you can't see my Kip too well, sorry. Okay, and then at the end of the story, who brings them home? It looks like a giant fish, but that's the best that I can do. Who brings Alistair and Kip home from their great adventure? The big whale does. Very good. All right. So when I talk about the plot of a story, I talk about what happens at the beginning of the story, what happens at the end of the story, or what happens in the beginning of the story, what happens in the middle of the story, and what happens at the end of the story. Okay. Now, there are things, a lot of things that Alistair and Kip did in the story. Alistair and Kip, they built a boat. Alistair and Kip had to swim, right? Alistair and Kip met a whale. Very good. Alistair and Kip had an adventure. What I would like you to do is I would like you to think of something from the story that Alistair and Kip did. And in your copybooks, and it could be something they did in the beginning of the story, something they did in the middle of the story, or something they did at the end of the story. Okay, so they built a boat. That was from the beginning of the story. They swam in the ocean. They swam with fish. That happened in the middle. They got knocked out of their boat. They got knocked over by a wave. That was in the middle of the story. And at the end of the story, they met a whale. They rode a whale home. They came home. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think about a telling sentence, something that tells me what happened in Alistair and Kip's great adventure. Now, we're not going to write out Alistair and Kip because those are really big names and they're tough to hear all those sounds. What we are going to do is we're going to use the word, sight word, they. Okay? So, we're going to start at the top of our copybook and we're going to write 5-12-2020. Okay? And what you're going to do is we're going to use the sight word, they. And since it's the beginning of a sentence, I need to put an uppercase T. Very good. All right. I have to put an uppercase T. So I'm going to put uppercase T, H, E, Y. They. Okay. And what I would like you to do is to tell me something that they did. They built a boat. They hammered. They went they went swimming. They rode a whale. Something that Alistair and Kip did from the story. That would be a telling sentence to me about the story. Okay, so again, you're going to use the word they, and then you're going to tap out those next words, the sounds in your next word, and you're going to write the letters for those words. So for example, if I wanted to do they met a whale, I would do they, and then I would do met. Et. Met. Et. Met. So I'm going to leave 2 finger space, and then I'm going to write the sounds that I hear for the letters that I hear for those sounds. Et. Met. Et. Met. A. W. 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 Now I would say W. W. W I would write W. Owl. Owl. A. W. L. W. L. L. And A is kind of making its own sound there. W. L. So I'm going to put an E at the end of that. I'm going to put an E at the end of that. So it's W. L. W. L. Okay? All right. So my sentence would be, they met a whale. Okay? Now, and then I'm going to draw a picture to go with my sentence. Now, what I would really like you to do, I was showing you how you practice sounding out those words and writing the letters that go with those sounds. I would really like to see if you could do a different sentence. You could do something like, they rode on a whale. They made friends with a whale. See if you can do something different. If you're using the whale, then they met a whale. See if you can think of something different, like they rode, owed, owed. You can tap out those sounds, and I hear O making its own name there, so you want to put in E at the end if you're spelling that word, okay? All right, so you're going to make your sentence of something that happened in Alistair and Kip's Great Adventure, and then you're going to draw a picture of it down below. And then what I would love to do is I would love to see those on Flipgrid. All right? All right, good job, my friends. Bye.